Thank you, everyone. It's so nice to be here, and I appreciate you coming indoors on what is a perfect day in a perfect location. So, well done, you. Lynn, could we go forward to the next slide after you've adjusted the camera? So Richard already gave us a bit of a setup of why we want to promote planned giving, and many of you want to grow your endowments. But I like to give some of the other reasons we promote planned giving in our congregations. One is we don't want to leave money on the table. Most people in surveys, when they're asked why they've given a planned gift, they say because someone asked them to. You have to talk about it. A planned gift is often the largest gift a person is capable of making, a gift that comes out of your estate. It's the treasure that you've spent your lifetime accumulating, so a gift that comes out of that is often the largest gift someone can make. Planned giving strengthens the bond between individuals and the congregation, because you think about it, who's in your will? Anyone? Children, family, maybe close friends. So if someone says that you're in the will, that means you're family, and that's really important. Also, if you're discussing planned giving before the person passes away, you can have a meaningful discussion about what this gift is about. This is important for pastoral care reasons and to talk about why the congregation has been so meaningful to them that they would give a gift like this. It can also short-circuit potential problems. Let's say that one day you get a letter from a lawyer and Mrs. Smith, who no one even remembers anymore because she attended so long ago, has given you a bequest for $500,000. That's fantastic, but there's a restriction, and the restriction is she wants you to build an animal shelter in the basement of your fellowship. This is a problem. So if you had been able to have a conversation with Mrs. Smith before she passed away, maybe you could talk about why animals were so important to her and perhaps how the church's ministry might fit in with that passion that was a little different than an animal shelter in the basement. Can we move to the next slide, please? So what is planned giving? Very simply, it's any gift that requires planning, negotiation, and counseling. You don't need to be an expert on any of the things I'm talking about right now. If you know the basics, and if you know someone who does know the specifics, and now you do because you all know me, that's all you need to know to start planned giving in your congregations. So what are the main planned giving options that people can use? The most common is a bequest that's done through your will or trust. There are deferred and life income gifts, which we're going to talk about a bit more, but those are gifts that give income for life, and then at the end of your lifetime, the remainder of the gift goes to the congregation. And there's also outright gifts of appreciated assets, and that can be gifts like stock, security, or even things like real estate or the Monet that you have in your attic. Everyone has one of those, I know. Next slide, please. So we'll start out with bequests. These are the most common form of planned gift. They're one of the easiest, and they make up 80 to 90% of all planned gifts. They're made through a will or a trust, and they're usually revocable, and that's important to remember because, as we know, we can go into wills and we can come out of them. And for most people, they represent the ultimate gift. As I said before, this is usually the largest gift anyone is capable of making. So with that revocable piece, you have to remember your family now. When someone says, you're in the will, your family, and you have to treat that relationship as such. Can we move forward one slide? So there's two different kinds of requests. We recommend encouraging percentage or residuary bequests. Percentages are great because people's net worth is usually larger than they think it is. And so leaving 5% of your estate will often result in a larger gift than leaving, say, $5,000. That and $5,000 today, that's a great gift. But in 25 years, 50 years, when you eventually pass away, that $5,000 is going to have very different buying power than it does now. So that's another reason to suggest percentage bequests from someone's estate. Now, a residuary bequest is popular with people because they often say, well, I'd love to give a gift, but I have to take care of my kids, and I have, a special needs son, and this is all very important, and yes, we do need to take care of our families. So residuary bequests are bequests that are made after all other contingencies are fulfilled in a will. So basically, I need this much to go to my son, I need this much to go to my cousin, I need this much to go to my spouse, and if there's anything left, that can go to the congregation. A lot of people feel more comfortable with that kind of language. And because these are legal documents, we can make this all possible. Lawyers have invented everything. Maybe there's some lawyers here. You've invented everything. All right, let's move forward. Are any questions about bequests before I move on? Great, let's move on to life income gifts. Next slide. Oh, good, we're here. So life income gifts are where you can give a gift and get income for life. They are generally for those who are 65 and older. And a great way to do it is from highly appreciated assets such as stock, so you can save on capital gains taxes. And these gifts are irrevocable. Once you give that money and it's invested and you're getting an annuity or something from it, you can't get that money back. That's good to know. Two different main forms of life income gifts that are the most popular: charitable gift annuities, which we'll be going into in some more detail shortly, and charitable remainder trusts. And charitable remainder trusts are fantastic, and they're highly customizable, and they also require a lawyer to set up. So they require a bit of investment at the beginning to get them set up. There's some legal fees and that sort of thing. But for someone with a very particular type of family situation, charitable remainder trust might be exactly the kind of vehicle you're looking for. We could move forward one slide. So charitable gift annuities, these are one of my favorite kinds of planned gifts. It's a program that's run through our UUA, and I'll go into how that's done in a bit. But the basics are, they're for 1 or 2 lifetimes. People often do them with their spouse, but you can do it with anyone, a good friend, your sibling, as long as both people are an average of 65 or older. You can earn income from highly appreciated assets, like I said. The payments are guaranteed by our UUA. You don't have to worry about this fund running out of money. That's not going to happen, but even if it did, it would come out of the UUA's endowment to pay that annuity. Our program is currently administered by State Street Bank. We've been working with them for over 20 years, and they do this work for thousands of charities all over the country to run their gift annuity programs. And we run this program because together we can do what no one congregation can do alone. There's no congregation out there, even our biggest and most wealthy, could run a charitable gift annuity program. But all of our assets and work together, we can do this. So that's why the UUA runs this program. Next slide, please. So who gives planned gifts? In your congregation, I would like to say everyone is a plan giving prospect, and that is true. I myself am a plan giving donor already. I've given from my IRA account because that's what I have. But here are some likely prospects for people who might give a planned gift to your congregation. Do they attend every service? Are they serving on a board or a committee? Are they an active lay leader? Are they a surviving spouse? Someone without children? And alumni. And alumni is really, really important because often people have been lifelong members of a congregation, and then they move away to be closer to children or to move into a retirement home, for instance, and they're now removed from the congregation. Do not forget about these people. They are some of your most likely prospects for giving a planned gift, and they want to be connected to the congregation. So please keep in touch with them. So don't prejudge. Don't assume that someone can't give a planned gift. Oftentimes, the people who live most simply on the outside are the people who've been accumulating some of the most wealth because they're so savvy and careful with their money. Moving on. Here are some great ways to educate your congregation about planned giving. You can put newsletter inserts. My office has little blurbs of varying word counts that we can help you with that you just stick in your newsletters. Put it in your order of service. Testimonials from the pulpit. These are some of the best ways to promote planned giving. 5 minutes, someone says who they are, what they gave, and how. Not necessarily an amount, just I gave a charitable gift annuity. I talked to Laura, I got an illustration. It was so easy, and now I get an annuity for life. And why they gave to the congregation, what the congregation means to them. Hearing it directly from someone, hearing someone's story, these are the most motivating things someone can hear that inspires them to give planned giving. I mean, I can show you lots of tax charts about why giving in this way is a really great idea tax-wise, but it won't be nearly as inspiring as if you hear a story about why someone loves your congregation so much that they would give some of the treasure they've worked their entire life to get so their congregation will grow and thrive. Information sessions, kind of like this one, to teach people about the basics of planned giving. A brochure rack. I brought some of our sample brochures here today, but you can make your own, and there's a sample over there of what the Fellowship in Poughkeepsie has done for their endowment. So get those brochures out. And make it easy. That's the most important thing. Have someone in the congregation that people can talk to, ask questions of, have my office's information out so people can call me and ask questions. What you're trying to do is make this process as simple as possible, because the biggest barrier to planned giving is people think it's too hard, too complicated, it's going to take too much time and effort. And that's really just not the case. So making it as easy as possible is key here. All right, let's move on to the next slide. So you're starting to get planned giving information and commitments in. What are you going to do to honor these people? We're going to start a recognition society. And this will help you stay in touch with the people who've made these planned giving commitments. It's going to create a stronger bond. It's going to let people know that they are appreciated for this amazing gift they're going to give. You can hold members-only events, which is a fun bonding thing to do, and you can do things like go to a concert or a museum or just have a nice lunch together. Ask someone in the Recognition Society to host one of these events at their house, or, I don't know, here. This is pretty great. And you can also create a list of charter members. And that's, sometimes there's a little silent phase. Oftentimes the endowment committee, they all make their commitments and they're the charter members. You're also going to want to put people into the society that may have given gifts to your congregation already before this society existed, but have passed on, so that you're knowing that you're remembering these amazing ancestors who have given to the life of the congregation already. All right, next slide. Other things you can do with your Recognition Society is an oral history project. That's fantastic, especially if they've been a member of the society for a long time. Talk to them about what the congregation was like when they first started attending, how it's changed. Get these stories recorded, because they're going to disappear otherwise. Buddy programs, these are pretty great. Hooking up someone with your with this Recognition Society with someone in the youth program, for instance. Sometimes they can be mentors, teaching in classes, honorary members of the stewardship team, because these people have a lot of great ideas about how to, I mean, if they've given a planned gift, they'll know how to inspire others to do the same. And being guests in religious education classes, both to help out and maybe help teach. All right, so you've got this program going. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to want to review how it's going every 3 years. And it's going to take at least 3 years for much to be seen from your efforts often. Sometimes you can launch a real campaign and go after people. That's not the right term. You're not going after people. You're launching a campaign, you're being much more intentional about the efforts you're putting into planned giving and raising the awareness. But there's also just sort of the low-key way of starting a planned giving program, which is having one-on-one conversations, asking people to give and make this commitment in their estate plans. And this can take a bit, you know, from the time someone is asked to give a gift to the time they actually meet with their lawyer and put it into their will. It can be a bit of time. So it's going to take about 3 years before you're going to say, how many commitments do we have? Do we know how much the commitments are for? What seems to be working? Are the testimonials working? Are the newsletter inserts working? So look at that about every 3 years. And you can determine the patterns of gifts. You can ask people for feedback, ask people that maybe you don't see at the endowment committee meetings, do you know about planned giving in the congregation? And if they've never heard of it, then maybe your outreach needs to be adjusted slightly. Learn from and with other congregations. Some of you are doing that right now, and that's fantastic. Ask your neighbors if they have a program, what they're doing, what works for them, what isn't working so well. Some congregations have had a program going for years and years and years, so they can really give you some information about what's been working well for them. And also, things need to be adjusted. What worked well in 1995 might not be working the same way now. So that's worthy of looking into as well. And the appreciative inquiry approach. Always recommend this for just about anything that you're looking at. That's asking, what are we doing well? What are our strengths here, and how can we build on those? Next slide. This is a quote about endowments from Wayne Clark's book, Beyond Fundraising, which, if you know it, is getting a new version out in the next couple years, so that's exciting because this previous version is about 10 years old. It can use some updating. But this quote about endowment really stands, and I'll read it out loud for those that, I know this is a little faint with the sunlight, beautiful sunlight. Many people support endowments because they want to make a difference in a lasting way, to leave a legacy for the future. They expect their contributions to be invested wisely, to grow in value, to produce a reliable revenue stream in perpetuity. It is their brush with eternity for generations to come. And I think that's really important. I mean, planned giving is an act of trust. It's giving to a future that we ourselves will never see. We are giving a gift to descendants we will never know. So we are all ancestors in the making in this way. All right, next slide. So I've given you a lot of information about what to do. You're probably asking yourself, how on earth are we going to do all of this? Well, here's some of the ways your UUA can help you. We have resources like brochures and flyers. I've brought some of them. I have more at my office. If there's a very particular kind of gift you'd like a brochure for, I can find it for you. We have a website that has an online gift calculator. So if you're curious about things like a charitable gift annuity, you can plug in your age and how much you're thinking of donating, and if it's stock, you can put in what the cost basis of that stock was, and it'll have a little presentation just for you about what that gift would look like for you in terms of, this is your annuity, this is your tax savings in the first year, all of that good stuff. And then if you want to go a little further, you can call me, or if you want to skip the online stuff entirely, just call me directly. The UU Common Endowment Fund is a resource for you as well. I know that the Poughkeepsie Fellowship invests in that. It's available to all UU congregations who would like to invest together with many congregations in our Common Endowment Fund. There's a lot, you can learn more about it at this website here. There are reports quarterly if that's the sort of thing that interests you, or you can just learn what funds were invested in. Who's on the committee that's doing this sort of thing. But there's lots of social justice screening and that sort of thing, because that's always of concern to all of us about how we're making our money work for us to promote our values in the world. And here's the website where you can get those interactive presentations and online gift calculator and some of our brochures at uua.org/gift planning. All right, next slide, please. So as I said, you can call me anytime and talk to me or someone else in my office about how to approach a potential gift. There might be a particularly interesting situation in your congregation and you're wondering how to go about it. I can talk directly with people who are thinking of giving a planned gifts about the potential benefits and the differences between the various kinds of gift vehicles they might be considering. I can review planned gift proposals if there's something already in the works. I'm happy to look over the language. And also we can process, manage, and complete gifts through our umbrella giving program, which is in the next slide, please. So umbrella giving is a way that you can give your gift to the UUA, and then the UUA distributes it exactly how you told us to. And if that's 100% to your congregation, then we give it 100% to your congregation. It's also a way to give to other UU institutions you might love, such as the UUA, the UU Service Committee, your favorite camps and conference center, our seminaries. Basically, if it's a UU organization, you can give to it through our umbrella giving program. It simplifies estate plans. So for instance, if you are putting a gift in your will for the support of Unitarian Universalism, and you put a gift to the Fellowship of Poughkeepsie, and then maybe years from now you move to a different part of the country and you join another congregation, and you also want to include them in your estate plans. You don't have to change your will. All you have to do is write a new letter to the UUA saying, this is how I'd like you to divvy up my gift now when you receive it. And so anytime you want to adjust those percentages, just give us a call, write us a new letter, and we'll do that for you. If for some reason you would like to give to your congregation anonymously, you can do that through my office. We'll take care of everything, and then someday, many, many years from now, your congregation will just get a check from someone. They won't know who. Amazing. And let's see. Can we go back one? Thank you. You get access to more kinds of gifts. Like I said before, you get access to the gift annuity program that you wouldn't have otherwise. Gifts like trusts, if that's something you're interested in, we can talk more about that. And occasionally the UUA does act as trustee. And gifts of stock. Some congregations are really good at converting stock. Others would prefer that we handle it in our office, and we can do that too. We take it in, sell it, and give the check to the congregation.
That's actually one of the ways that we receive funds.
Okay, UU Fellowship of Poughkeepsie's already doing it. Anonymous, fairly significant quantity of stock. That's fantastic. There are no fees or costs. This often comes up. No fees or costs to use the umbrella giving program. This is something that's supported by all of our contributions to the annual program fund to support our UUA. And it's another level of accountability and stewardship, because if someone makes an umbrella gift through my office, they'll become a part of your recognition society, but they also become a part of the UUA's legacy society. And so they're getting letters of thanks from us, they're getting information about new kinds of planned gifts from us, they're getting invited to events at GA and that sort of thing as well. So it's another level of saying thank you and stewardship. It's also another level of record keeping. And I know all of your congregations are probably fantastic record keepers and have been for the last 30 or 40 years. But just in case you would like someone else also keeping track of things, our umbrella gifts are recorded as well, and we have staff that do this sort of thing, so it's sort of another level of security in that way. All right, next slide now. Okay, the Legacy Challenge. Yes.
Is umbrella giving somehow different from the general UUA endowment fund?
So umbrella giving is a program that we take the money in and then immediately disperse it, so it's not really being invested anywhere. So yes, it is different from the common endowment fund. Yep. So the Legacy Challenge is something that was just announced at this past General Assembly in Columbus, and actually the final agreement was just agreed upon on Thursday, so this is all so very fresh, and you're one of the first groups of people that are hearing about it. A grant from Shelter Rock, the congregation in Shelter Rock, has been given to support legacy giving among all Unitarian Universalist entities in a way that has never been done before. This is completely new and very exciting. So we are in the process of creating materials for congregations to use, and what it will be, and this is complicated, which is why we need to make materials that simplify it, but I'll try to make it simple. You would give a planned gift or make a planned giving intention now, and it would qualify for a match that would come from this grant and go immediately to your congregation and whatever UU organizations you love immediately. So it's giving a gift now and giving a gift later through your estate. it's coming from the grant, and it's not a dollar for dollar match, but for instance, if you were just to say, the UUA is in my will, then we'd say, thank you so much, and $1,000 is the match for bequests that don't have a dollar amount attached to it. If you do put a dollar amount attached to it, it's about 10% with a cap of $10,000. So for instance, if you were going to give $100,000 from your estate to the fellowship in Poughkeepsie, then this match would give an immediate gift of $10,000. Okay, that's the basics of it. So there's more information coming soon. A lot more resources are coming soon as well. We are very, very excited about this and hope that all congregations and all organizations are going to want to be involved to promote planned giving in a way that's never been seen before in our faith. And this has the potential to really, it can do really amazing things for our faith down the road if this many people were to become excited by it and give a planned gift that they wouldn't have given before. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, with a cap of $10,000. Yes, your will is revocable, and so this is all part of our covenant and trust and faith in one another. So all of these matches are going to be made in good faith, knowing that someone could revoke it. And there's nothing we can do about that. The match will still happen, but we're hoping that people won't. $5 million. It's a $5 million grant. Yeah. Per donation. Well, it's just say it's per donor. It's per donor. So if you give $100,000 to the UUA and $100,000 to your fellowship, there's still a cap of $10,000 for you. Yes, that's right. Yep.
But if the bequest is a percentage, then how does that work?
Well, that would require people to say, I'm giving 5% of my estate, and I estimate that this is the amount. And often it's going to be people's estimations. And we're hoping people will also do that in good faith and not say, yeah, my estate's worth $2 million if there's no possible way that's true. Great. Well, stay tuned for that. There's going to be more information. And the match, the first period where gifts will start qualifying is January 1 of 2017. And it'll go for about 2 years. So there's going to be a beginning and end point, but you're going to hear lots more information about how to participate in that. You should absolutely lay the groundwork before January 1. Yeah, so there's going to be pledge forms that come out, and so there's, paperwork that will, when it comes into my office after January 1, that's how we'll know. Yeah. Yeah. So the question was, we're anticipating giving away $5 million over a 2-year period. Yes, we are. That's true, and when the grant is gone, it is gone. And we're still hoping that people will still be giving out of the goodness of their hearts. But what this is for is not just to get match money, but to encourage congregations to promote planned giving in a way that they maybe haven't before, and to encourage people to actually make the planned gifts when before they're like, oh yeah, I'll get to it, yeah, I'll make a will eventually. But to know that there's some match money on the table, I will do this now. I think that's going to be the part that gets people going. And then when people ultimately start getting these planned gifts, they'll see the power of planned giving, and then they're never going to want to stop. Honestly, congregations that started these planned giving efforts 20 years ago and are now starting to see those gifts come in, and it did take that long. It's 15 to 20 years before these gifts start coming in for the most part. And it's remarkable. Little congregations that just got, 20 people together and they all decided to do this together back in, 1992 or 95. And now their congregation gets an extra $100,000 a year. That's huge for them. All right. right, so like I said, stay tuned, you'll be hearing more. So to summarize everything I just said very quickly, utilize a planned giving committee. It can be small, 1 or 2 people who are devoted to increasing planned giving efforts in your congregation. Sometimes it's a subcommittee of the endowment committee or your stewardship committee. We just love making committees, don't we? Create a recognition society. Give information to them 2 to 4 times a year. Not much more than that. You don't need to inundate them with stuff. But hold an annual event for them to honor them. And ask them for testimonials. Get those testimonials in your newsletter and from the pulpit. And record them if you can. They're so important. Utilize my office at the UUA. I have so many resources and I want to get them to you. And we can really help you build this program and help it grow. Remember the alumni, the people who used to be part of your congregation and moved away for whatever reason. Stay in touch with them. And remember to honor the people who've passed away. Next slide. This is important. Don't give tax or financial advice. You give information, but never give advice, because that way lies lawsuits, so don't do that. Remember that you're representing your congregation and to do it well and honorably. Give examples. That's a great way. If someone's saying, I want to give a planned gift, but I'm not sure what to do, you could say, well, I myself gave a gift from my IRA account. It took 10 minutes. I just went online and filled out the beneficiary designation form, and now 10% of that account will go to the UUA when I pass away. So easy. Maybe that'll be right for you, maybe it won't. But giving examples like that of what I did, what someone else did, what fake Mr. Smith did, this is all a great way to show other people what's possible for them. Always encourage people to seek their own professional advice. Ask them to talk to their attorney or financial advisor about what makes sense for them with their financial situation and estate. I can give more in-depth advice about different plan giving vehicles, but I also don't give advice of what people should do, and I also follow this rule of I don't give tax or financial advice. Can give information, but always turn people back to their own financial advisors about what makes sense for them with their particular situation. And if you ever have questions about any of this, if you think you're getting into a gray area, that's a good sign you probably are. Give me a call, or if you have your own legal counsel, give them a call, but I'm always happy to talk out situations with you. Oftentimes I get calls from congregations asking about, we're talking with so-and-so, but we're not entirely sure she's completely competent anymore. Maybe some dementia is setting in, and what should we do around that? So I'm happy to talk through those situations. And in general, if you think that's the case, then everyone has to step back. All right, next slide. Oh, good. We're at the questions and comments section. That works well.
Thank you very much.
Certainly. You have something you want to say?
Questions, I was just
Yes,
going to lead the question
questions.
and answer.
Yep.
And I'll take the prerogative of being the chair to ask the first one.
Okay.
And that is grants to the, I'm thinking a little bit about this new program that was just agreed to. Grants to the fellowship as opposed to grants to the endowment fund.
So this is the match money you're talking about. We're
Specifically, but in
certainly.
general,
So the way
distinction.
that's working is the match money goes to the congregation, and then it's up to the congregation where that money goes. This campaign is putting no stipulations on how you use that.
If this match program, however, is a grant to the fellowship, does it still apply, or is it only funds that are put in the endowment fund?
Could you say a bit more about that? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking.
What if the planned giving instrument says, I'm giving money to the fellowship endowment fund?
I see.
You're matching it, does it go also to the endowment fund, or does it just go to the general funds operating?
That's a terrific question. I'll have to get back to you on that. I believe the match is to the congregation to do whatever the congregation has decided to do with it. But I do want to clarify if planned gift restrictions carry over to the match.
And does this match only relate to funds that are given to the endowment fund or to any grants given to?
So my plan here says, I just give you money for the fellowship.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So it's not restricted to?
No,
grants to the endowment
it's
fund,
not
but
restricted to that. It's any planned gift to your congregation. Yep.
But on that issue, can you clarify, what is the difference? Between, like, if I want to give money to fellowship, what would be the difference between my giving that money to the endowment fund versus giving money to the fellowship to do their life?
So yes, to unrestricted. So that brings up an important piece, and that is your congregation should have a gift acceptance policy. Sort of step one of planned giving is get a gift acceptance policy that shows an agreed upon language, both the gifts you'll accept and what will be done with gifts. So this is what we do with unrestricted bequests that come in. And maybe they go directly to the endowment, maybe there's a portion that goes to the endowment and a portion that goes to operating funds. Maybe there's a list of funds that people can give their planned gifts to, such as the RE fund, the social justice fund, whatever funds people have they might want to give to. And that's for the congregations to decide upon themselves how you want to do that. We always forward what restrictions are. Legally, you're kind of bound to honor these restrictions as they're put on. But these gift acceptance policies can show you what to do with an unrestricted bequest that comes in. And it's good to get them done early before you have to deal with the situation. I know of a lot of congregations that get a surprise bequest they didn't know about, it's unrestricted, and they don't really know where to put it, and they'll do something like vote on it at the annual meeting, and that's not usually the way to keep harmonious relations in a congregation. Yes.
I may be confused, but if I give a gift this year, a certain amount of money, when I say this is part of the matching grant, how would I have to?
So it would actually be a gift through your estate plan or through a charitable gift annuity. So it's a gift that would happen after you passed away. So you hopefully will not be giving it this year. So it's not an immediate gift. That it's not a match for immediate gifts. It's for bequests and other kinds of planned gifts that will come about after you pass away. Yeah. No, the gift doesn't have to be made after January 1st. It's just the sort of the pledge form saying that you've done it has to come into my office after January 1. So you could start planning it now, go see your lawyer now if you wanted to, get it all set, and we'll fill that out after the first of the year. Yeah. Sure. So a charitable gift annuity, for instance, if you wanted to take one out, and let's say that you're 65 years old, you would say, I'm going to give $10,000, and because of the 65-year-old age, you're going to get 4.2% of that for the rest of your life. So it'll be a fixed rate annuity, and you're getting 4.2% for life. So that's based on your age. If you are 90 years old and making a charitable gift annuity, your rate will be 9%. And so it'll be 9% of whatever you've given for the rest of your life. The percentages merge a bit when you have two lives because it's a factor of both of the person's ages. But that fixed percentage is tied to your age, and how much you give will be your annuity. And I know that sounds confusing. That's why we have an online gift calculator, so you can kind of play with it to see, what if I waited till I was 70, what it would look like.
So let's say you give $10,000, you get a tax deduction, you give that $10,000.
You do, you get a tax deduction in the year you gave the gift, right?
And then you're getting not taxable income, maybe it's 4.2, 4.2.
Right, so it's non-taxable for a period of years. But once you reach the actuarial point upon which you've outlived your life expectancy, which UUs are very good at doing, then you do start paying taxes on it again, and that's because essentially you've gotten your gift back. You've gotten that $10,000 back again at that point. So when you get an illustration from my office, it'll show this a bit more simply, but it'll say, here's the rate you're getting, here's your annual annuity, here's the amount you can deduct on taxes this year, and here's a little chart that shows how much you pay in taxes when. And it'll, at the bottom, show how many years it's tax-free. It's usually like 17.2 or something like that. Basically, it calculates it out to like, at what point did you hit 86, and then you start paying taxes again.
And when you do finally pass, what happens next? Go to the UUA or go to the fellowship or?
It goes wherever you told us to put it. Yep, and that's the remainder of the gift goes there. Yeah. Yes.
I'm 84 years old, and I have a trust, a gold trust, which the Unitarian Order plays a large part. That's one of those deposits. I feel that some of the money that is invested, that I've invested in savings, I don't think they're allocated well enough to give enough interest versus the fees that are paid to have that invested. So
Mhm.
these outweigh the interest income, and I'm unhappy about that.
Okay.
So I would need somebody look into that for me and see if that can be changed so that the fees are less and the interests are higher relative to the money that's involved. So that's one aspect of my question. My second question is that I'm an artist and I have about 300 paintings in my house, which I need to dispose of in order to sell the house. And the Unitarian Fellowship has already a number of my paintings in their attic, which they will be able to use to hopefully raise funds by auctioning them off or selling them or whatever. So I think somebody ought to, I think the value of the paintings ought to be somehow determined to see what actual monetary value is entailed in those 300 paintings. Because a lot of money was spent on framing and matting of these paintings. So, and I think there are certain professional people who do that, but I think they're very expensive. And so I haven't done it because of that. Then when I go to my lawyer and they make changes and ask me to do something different, I always have to pay a high fee for very little. Basically, the secretary is doing the work.
Sure.
A big fee on it. So it would be good to have somebody else who understands the language of the trust to